Hey gang, so I'm here today with David Mars from Mars Design Services. Is that what it's called?
Mars HVAC services.
Mars
Yep.
HVAC Services. Yeah, so David's got an incredibly good story about how his marketing is going after we got a bunch of stuff in place this year, and he did a lot of work. And no, don't get that this is easy, because it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But he's got a really, really incredible story. He's getting a 2,500 to 1 ratio on dollars to revenue. So that means he's spending $1 and getting $2,500 back. Now that's about 100 times better than almost everybody that I know. So we're going to talk about how that happened, how I got there. But first, before we go there, we'll get there. But before we go there, why don't you just tell everybody what it is you actually do? Because it's not exactly the same thing. Like, he's not a contractor like most of the people that are in my group that I work with or whatever, but it is related, but it's not the same thing. So why don't you tell everybody what you actually do?
I do the building sciences aspect to what everybody does in air conditioning. So I take care of the heat load calculations, which is known as manual J. I do the duct calculations, manual D, and then also energy code documents. And then I even go as far as into Energy Star verification, HERS energy rating, and just the testing of the home,
So you
making
do all
sure
that
everything is,
stuff for contractors,
yes.
right? So your customers are contractors, not homeowners or end users.
Sometimes I'll get a homeowner if they're an owner builder and they've,
Yeah.
subcontracted it themselves, but that's really a minority of the work that I get in. Most of it is architects, engineers, and contractors.
Okay. So do you do manual S also?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Every house now.
right. So yeah, because just so everybody, in case somebody doesn't know what that is, manual J is the size of the air conditioner or furnace.
Hmm.
Manual D is the size of the ducts that it takes to make that work.
Hmm.
And manual S is the equipment you have to pick out to match the numbers you got.
Yes.
Okay, right. So
Yep.
just to make so that everybody's clear what you actually do. Basically, they hire you because they don't know how to do that or don't want to do it
Right.
themselves.
Yep.
Right.
And a lot of them, I do training services as well. And it's a lot of times that, people start out and they're doing their own manual J's and D's and all that. And then as you get bigger, you just don't have time to do it no more. And then
Right.
they'll sub it out to me. Then I take care of that for them.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, we started working together about a year ago. It was like the first of the year in
Mhm.
2019, so last
Yep.
year. And so, why don't we just go through where you were before that, like where up at that point, what was going on there? Because we kind of tell the story of your journey over the last year has been really, really cool. So
Mhm.
let's start with where you were when we
It,
first started
it,
speaking together.
it's been a tough journey too.
Okay.
Tough but rewarding. But no, where I was a year ago, pretty much a one-man show. I would have a few people that as subcontractors that I would bring on where if I got too busy, then I would have a little bit of the overflow go to them. But there wasn't a whole lot of structure to the process. Even my scheduling and how I scheduled everything, there wasn't as much structure as what I have now. Everything was exceptionally simple. It'd be more of like keeping a list of what work I have in, and there wasn't really much else to it. And same thing with marketing. At that time, I would try taking $100 and throw $100 into Facebook, and no results. I'd be lucky if I got two people liking it, or I might get like a little smiley face at the bottom, and then two people like it. But it was like that was all the results I was getting, and I kind of didn't really have a good focus on what to do in Facebook and how to like push that. At that time, I was using Google AdWords, getting an okay. I might get like maybe I think I was putting in like $200 or $300 a month. I was getting maybe an extra client probably a month. Maybe every couple months I'd get two clients in that month, but it wasn't really. I mean, it still made for a nice extra money, but it wasn't really a large amounts of people coming to me from it.
Okay. So you were one of those people who we hear all the time. Well, I tried Facebook. I
Yep.
tried this. It didn't work.
Yep. And it even got to where it annoyed me because like I'd done, I'd hear other people's success stories, and they're like, "Oh, I'm making all this money off of Facebook," and I'd be like, it's a bunch of bull because here I am. I just put $300 in a Facebook ad. I ran it for a week, and not one single person even called me. Not one person messaged me. Not one, and I was just always falling in that loop. And then I'd come back around again. I'd be like, well, maybe I'll just put another $100 into it here, and I get the same exact result.
Right. So, I mean, because there's a couple pieces of what we're talking about so far that I've kind of pulled out of what you just said in the last couple minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the pieces about the marketing itself, but there's also the pieces about the way the business was running.
Yes.
So, I mean, and obviously you can't get one without the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, you can't, a lot of people think, well, if I just do more marketing, get more customers, everything's going to be great.
Right. And that was my mindset at the time too, of like, oh, well, it would become easier. If I get more customers, it'll become easier, when in fact, no, you get more customers, you get more work. And if you're not organized like crazy, on the inside, then yeah, it becomes a mess.
Right. Right. So one of the, I mean, like, if I remember, the first things we worked on were like, what were you actually offering to the marketplace? Because
Mm-hmm.
without that, we don't know what the ads are supposed to say.
Yep. And what I was just offering, especially like on my ads, I would just put down that I do manual J's. I might try and talk about my company a little bit more. I'd be like, I'm Mars HVAC Services, and I do a manual J for X amount of money. And I would just leave it like that, and kind of, very, vanilla, plain Jane, not much else to it. And then I would just send it out there with that hope and expectation of, they'll see it and somebody will be like, wow, I need to go to him just because of that.
Right. So we started working together, like I said, about a year ago. And I remember like about 4 or 5 days after we started, there was some parts in the first module of stuff. And you sent me a message back that, oh my God, this is like, what was that about?
Yeah. Because it just started clicking that different aspects I was having issues with, it was going to allow me to kind of start organizing, start looking at more of the internals. So kind of like even just going over and building the funnel, that taught me that when you go to create an end product, you have to start on the opposite end of it. You can't go over and just say, I want to get like 10 more clients. You got to look at what you're going to do once you have the client and work on it. Well, I was in the same basis of it with just the company overall of, when I get work in, say I already had the client, well, how does the work move around in, office? And, what's the first step? What's the second step? It sounds trivial, but it's super important.
Right. Right. I mean, cause you even changed like pricing structure and all kinds of stuff. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, like we had long conversations about changing how you're going to do business, because it would make it attractive to a certain kind of client.
Yes.
That's the ones you wanted, and not just the ones that, not just like everyone. I want the ones I want, and I need to repel the ones I don't care about. Why am I wasting my time?
And even the pricing structure was kind of unorganized too. I admit I had it because I do work across all the nation. And then, so what I would find out then Washington State that they would charge, I would stick with that pricing structure. And what they charge in Florida, I would stick with that pricing structure. And so I essentially had dozens of pricing structures, which made it super difficult. And that was a part of the whole kind of anarchy to it at first. And I learned that if I put everybody on the same basis, then it kind of it simplified it on me. I still made, a good margin on it.
Right.
And then in some markets, it made me even more competitive.
Well, and part of it was that it seemed like you were chasing around what the other guys were doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of trying to stand out and be what your thing was.
Yep. Yeah. I would see what those people in that area would do, and then I would just mimic it and just, go along with the same type of structure that they do instead of just being myself.
So you're a really good one to talk to about this, because I see this also all the time, because I work all over the country, right? I see this thing and this thing. And the biggest thing that makes me want to take somebody and just smash them over the face with a shovel is when I hear them. In my area, it's like, look, your area is not freaking different than everybody else's area. Wherever you are, whoever's saying that, I promise you, all the same things you have going on are going on everywhere. In my area, we can't find good employees. You can't find them anywhere. In my area, you can't charge this much. Yes, you can if you do it right. It's like all the same things. So it's not about the area you're in. It's about making your business stand out so that it can be completely different than everything else out there. And so everyone says, if I want that thing, you're the only one doing it. I have to buy it from you.
Yep. And it's that
Which,
whole
by
thing.
the way, is what's making your ads now kill it, because it's not just about the ad, because the ad gives response. But from what we talked about, and we'll get into this, your close rate is nearly 100% once they're talking to you.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if it's 100%, but it's very close.
Yeah, it's very high. Once the person has contacted me, then it's essentially, that's what they want. And it's
Right.
just, the value has already been sold in it because they understand it. And then pretty much I'm just going more in detail on
And it's
stuff
not
and the
because of the
processes.
ad. And it's not even because of
Yep.
the ad. It's because of the way you built the business in the first place.
Yep.
Or I should say rebuilt the business in the
Yep.
first place. Rebuilt the business in the second place. probably the way
Yep.
to put it. Because I know we had these long conversations before we even got into let's build a funnel and an ad and a page and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first thing you did that worked?
When it came to the ads,
Or just any of it? Like when we started talking, was the first thing that I said, hey, do this, and you did that and you went, okay, that worked.
yeah, I would say, oh man, there are so many different things. The first thing the main first thing I can think of now that worked was when I changed my pricing, and it helped to eliminate a lot of things. It made it to where everybody was, pretty much on the same level. There's the same standardization. It took me time to put it together and to come up with the idea of like a price sheet and keep everybody in the same range. And but once I had that done, and it made it a lot simpler. That was one of the key moments in that, and like opening it up.
So what was like the result of that? Like what happened?
From that, that's just an extra part. I've added that getting people to that close rate, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
Because it made it to where instead of me being able to give out pricing, now I have employees, so now everybody is capable of giving out pricing.
Right. And nobody's just making shit up when they want to.
Right. Yep. There was no where they go, oh well, let's see, 1,500 square foot, 300. There's none of that whatsoever. Everybody's going to go by the same basis for what they get charged.
Right. So, I mean, in the end, was the result like just a simpler process, or was it more revenue, or what happened there?
It was a simpler process, but it's aiding now with more revenue because out of all the different processes that I put into place, then now it allows that ease of work to get finished and to, what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like you can take more projects on, you can make a better commitment to your clients. And so, the commitment of having it done sooner than what
You're
other people are
standardizing,
capable
right?
of.
And
Yeah.
this is the thing that people think they're going to get. They're looking for like a single tactic. Show me the ad to run. Show me
Yep.
show me the sales training, what to say to some guy to get him to buy when he doesn't want to. It's like, well, none of that stuff really works by itself. And not that I think you should sell something to people who don't want it, right? But
Yep.
they're always looking for that little edge, that little tactic, the one thing. But it's not. It's an interlocking system of everything you're doing in your business that has to be from top to bottom.
Yep.
And I mean, in the end, you can have all the marketing really great, and then you get down to like you're talking about right now, like the pricing structure, and you're just like making crap up, and they can see that, and they go, "Well, this guy's not really good."
Yep.
And it's just really subconscious.
Yep. Yeah, and that was one of the things too. The other aspect that got me changing things was when I started asking my clients about like things that they would like to see better that I would do, and I would hear their complaints when they use other people's services. And it was that same thing when they would use other people's services. They'd be like, well, it takes him 2 weeks to get it back to me, and he's not consistent with his pricing. I gave him a house today. Today it was 150. Next week it's 250. A month ago it was almost $400. And then they're
Right.
complaining there's no standardization to anything.
Right.
But as I did that, it made it easier for them as well, my clients. So they
Well, not only that, but they tell their friends, right?
Yep.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like we get the referral business, and think about it in the context of like an air conditioning contractor. Look, you've got a house you do, and you do a certain thing, and people really love it. And then you go and they tell their neighbor to call you, and you go over and give their neighbor a completely different deal. If your company does that because you send a different guy over or something,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be like, what the hell happened?
Yep.
Yep. So, I mean, it's all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So it took you, a few weeks or a little while to get the pricing structures and stuff changed so that you were ready to run marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we started talking about marketing, and what was the first step that we did? Do you remember?
Was it ad copy?
I think it was offers.
Yes, the offers. That's right. It was being able to offer something that's different. And then that's when, after bouncing it back and forth, it came out with same day Manual J.
Right.
and that
Because the thing is
nobody
the
else can
offer,
offer
right.
that.
I mean, because if there's no offer, if you have a great offer, the ad copy and everything starts writing itself.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
because your ad copy before was, I do Manuel J. Here's my price.
Yep.
That's not
Yep.
ad copy. That's not.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
what does it look like now?
now, well, now when I put it out, I'm, you know, usually what I'll do is I'll put something snappy out there, something that's trendy. And so, like, the really successful one was the girl screaming. It
Right.
was a TikTok video, and then all I wanted to do was do something simple that added with it. And so I just put it on there and I said Manual J, and I made it to where it looked like she was screaming over the Manual J. And then when
Right.
she really gets excited and the dad comes in, that's when I held up just a piece of paper saying same day Manual J.
Right.
And so it fell right in there perfectly.
Right. So that was your offer, and you just made
Yep.
it stand out. So when they're scrolling through Facebook, they went, "Oh my God!" and they stop it. What the heck is this girl screaming about now? Right.
Hmm.
And then they look and they see same day Manuel J. So the offer becomes same day.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, that's the global offer. The more specific offer was contact me with,
Yes.
you know,
And when I did the ad too, I made sure I had the message me button down at the bottom.
right.
And so that way, anytime it did catch somebody's eye and they wanted to talk to me, they could click right on that button. And then I made sure that I was always accessible via Messenger at the time. And that way, I could instantly begin talking to them. And then by that point, by the time they clicked on that, it was pretty much a done deal.
Yep. Yep. I mean, this is the thing. If you're missing the piece, like, well, they like the ad, but I don't want them to click like. I don't want an emoji. I want the action they take. Because we have to plan all this out as a part of the funnel. What's the action I want them to take?
Yep.
I want them to message me. I don't want them to click like my ad. And I see these people out there, guys, look, I'm going to look it right in the camera. If you are trying to run Facebook and you're saying, I'm going to run Facebook to get 10,000 likes, you're making a huge mistake. You do not need likes. You cannot spend those. You spend the dollars. So run your ads so that they go to something that gives you actual customers and not just a database of people who like your stuff. Period.
I agree. It's not a popularity contest, and a lot of people want it to be. They
Right.
want it to where, well, look how many times it was shared, and look at how many likes I got, and look at all these different things. And it's like, yeah, but what was the result?
Right. Exactly.
You
I mean,
know?
now not to say that the likes and the shares don't help, because it helps a little bit,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in Facebook's budgeting, so the way their algorithm works, if people are liking and sharing it, it makes it easier for them to show the ad to more people, because they're saying, oh, this is an ad that people like to see. So Facebook likes to see likes. They like to see shares because
Yep.
it helps them show the ad better for a cheaper cost, but it still doesn't give you money.
Yep.
Okay, so more people saw it and more people liked it and shared it, and then more people liked it and but in the end, is anybody buying anything?
Yep.
So, I mean, so let's go through what your ad spend was for this ad campaign that you told me about. And I was like, okay, wait, that's 100 times better than I usually expect it to be.
Mhm.
So I expect that someone's going to pay like, I don't know, $100 and get a couple $1,000 back for it. That's a pretty good return,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So yours is what? Now everybody get ready, because this is going to blow your freaking mind.
What I did was, it was for 10 days and it was $10. So $1 a day.
Right. Now you did the way you set the campaigns up. If you don't know how to do this, guys, is you can say, I want to run a campaign for this many days. I run it for 10 days, 30 days. You pick a time, and then you can put a budget per day, or you can put a budget on the whole campaign, which is what you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And and it was super successful doing it that way. It's, I made sure that when I did my target audience, that I was targeting specific people that I knew were in the HVAC industry. And that way it would primarily just pop up on theirs.
Right.
And then with
Targeting
that,
is big. Yep.
I think the dollar included like 500 to 700 reach, people that it would reach. And from that, I mean, I maybe got a share or two here and there, a like or two here and there, but what really counted was every day I had people messaging me, and I had people do the messenger, and then, I would talk to them, let them know my pricing. And of course, then the pricing's simple because everybody's on the same level.
Right.
So I was able to give them that pricing. I can give them our turnaround time and, get everything going. And that's where every single day in that 10-day period, I was able to secure a new client.
Okay. And the new clients were worth
$2,500 a year.
each.
Yes.
Right. So 10 new clients. So it's $25,000 for a $10 investment. Okay. Now
Not bad.
if that doesn't make people excited, I don't know what the hell is. um, and now, guys, I do not expect everybody to be able to get that. That's a pretty exceptional thing because it's a fairly niche market and he's really super targeted and he's got a great ad copy and stuff. But if you get it right, you can get really great results because before that, your results were like a nice round number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's the same business on the same platform. So yeah, just that is shocking how good that is. And so I know we talked about this. You had a bunch of testing that you did over time. So
yes.
I mean, you didn't get there like I set this up and it worked the first time. It doesn't work that way.
Nope. It was actually, I would try different ways. Like sometimes I might make a meme and throw a meme out there. I would do what's trending. And when I say trending, I'm saying the crazy cat video that you see that's popping up all the time that everybody's sharing like crazy.
Yeah, with the lady screaming at the cat.
Yeah. And
right.
and you pick out different things like that are, they're funny, they're trending, that catches people's, eye because everybody wants to read the newest one that somebody has sent out.
Right.
And so if you incorporate that with your ad copy, just brief, and then target it to people in a way that you want them to communicate back to you.
Right.
And then, of course, you got to make sure that once they communicate to you, you got to be immediate response back to them.
Right. It's all in the follow-up.
Yep.
Well, and here's the weird part, because I mean, I know that over the last year, you didn't start out that way. I mean, the first ads you ran didn't get.
Oh yeah, the first ones, it was it was just I would still put out the same old type of ad before, where it was just
I do manual J.
Yeah, I do manual J's. Here's how much it costs, and I'll have it back to you within a week, maybe two. And I'm like, well, I need to be truthful with people, and it's like, well, it wasn't really, I had to still work on scheduling, and I had to work on getting them done faster. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was all those other internal things to work on.
Well, in the end, it's because what happened is you started to offer something that they couldn't get anywhere else. It was a unique service that was same day.
Yep.
Because everybody else was a week out or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and
so guys, look, if you're trying to build your business, don't think about the ad. And here's another one that makes me want to beat people up. I need to get my name out there. No, you freaking don't need to get your name out there. Mm-hmm. You need to put an offer out there that has your name attached to it. And the offer has to be something that the other people in your market are not doing because they're afraid to do it, or they don't know how to do it, or they're not willing to do it, or whatever it is. Why in the heck should I call you and nobody else? Once you nailed that down, that's when it took off.
Yep. And a lot of my ads too, I don't even mention the name of my business.
It's funny, isn't that?
Yeah.
Brand doesn't matter? You mean brand doesn't matter?
Nope. I don't even mention the name of the business. I just say what I do. And then from there, they get funneled to aspects that then talk about me. And,
right.
But typically I just get them over to me for what I do. And then that way I establish pricing. And then after that, then I try and, talk about who I am, how long I've been in business.
I remember these conversations where we were talking about ads and stuff, and then we were talking about the back end, right? Like when the ads started working was when you started to figure out how to get the business to work better so you could offer something no one could offer.
Yep.
So it wasn't like I wrote a better ad, because you could have wrote an ad that said same day manual J, and if you weren't able to deliver, what good would it have done?
Yeah, it wouldn't last very long.
Right. We could put you out of business in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, guys, build your business so that it does something cool like that, and then the ads start working great. Because you're just driving traffic. Here's the thing: the ads are traffic that drives into the business, and if the business can deliver in a way that nobody else does, then suddenly it works like crazy. Right. So a lot of what I look at when I'm working with a company is not just the thing that, here's the funny part. I mean, somebody told me a while ago, and I know this is true for me, is I need to, when I'm taking on a new client, I need to sell them what they want, but then give them what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Like they come to me, like you came to me, I need more marketing. Okay. We'll sell you that, and we'll do that. I promise we will. But in the meantime, we're going to work on all these other things that makes that work.
I think that's the way I approached it too. I was like, I need you to do my Facebook marketing. And, and then you were like, no, how about I show you a process
Where
And we
you
can,
do it.
yeah, you do it. And then if you don't want it, then we can talk about that. Now I was like, at first I was like, I don't have time for this,
Right.
and then it's really going through the whole process taught me that, well, you got to make time. And if you don't have time, then maybe you need to start hiring people on, putting people in the different
Right.
positions. And then that way it frees you up. So
Well,
that
that's
way
a
you can
really
do
good point, because are you doing physical manual J's yourself right now?
it. No.
No.
Well, I'd say maybe 2 a week, but
Right.
that's really it.
Because you built a whole business around the look. Let's back up into this. If you want to do same day manual J, because that's the
Mhm.
concept, then
Mhm.
you have to build that.
Yep.
So in order to build that, what processes did you have to go about to do that?
I had to go over and like creating the schedule and creating a way of tracking all the projects. I had to come up with that because I need to be able to watch my current projects, ones that weren't the same day manual J.
Right.
And then once I did that, then that's when I realized, when I started having hiring employees, then I could create slots and then have where the same day manual J can fill in so many times a day.
Right.
And then not only then can I make extra profit off that, but then there's somebody out there that needs that. There's somebody that
Right.
that's what they need right now, is that manual J in the next 5 hours, and I can provide that to them and nobody else can. And so that kind of opened it up. But it was like that working with the organization and getting organized internally, for it. And
Right.
then also you know that end part, that end result of being able to accept them and then make sure that they get done on time.
Well, I'm gonna offer a suggestion that the first thing that had to change was your own brain about how you thought it was supposed to work.
Yes. Yep.
Like, oh, well, no, that's not how we do it. We're supposed to do it this way. No, if you change your mind about how
Mhm.
it's supposed to work, then you can make all the changes you need to make.
Yep.
You know.
And sometimes you fall in the mindset of like, well, that will never work, that's impossible. And then there's another one I've learned to never say ever is, well, that's not the way I've always done it.
Exactly. Right. Right.
you know
It's like, "Well, I never did it that way before." It's like, well, that must be wrong because nobody does it like that, right? I mean, there's all kinds of Here's the thing, and if you think of every great, super great business in the world, right? Like Elon Musk, the guy invented PayPal because he looked at the way payroll, pay services was done. He said, let's just not do it anything like Visa or MasterCard or American Express, how they do it. Let's just not do anything like that, completely disrupt the whole thing and just do it this other way.
Yep.
And he's, a billionaire, multi-billionaire, because of the fact that he just said, I'm just going to reject the fact that you have to do it the way everybody else does it, or the way I've always done it, or the way everybody thinks it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And this is what happens to every business is when it gets good. And you don't even need to make that huge of a shift. I mean, you're still doing manual J's. You're just taking it
Mhm.
away from, gee, I'm the expert and I need to do all these.
Mhm.
Changing your mind about that little thing. Gee, maybe I can find a process where I can hire people who aren't great at it yet, but I can make them great because my process is good.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
and then they were still getting the same quality manual J as what they did from me.
Right.
Because I just taught internally of how I want things done. There's a structure.
Right.
There's even a process to that. And
Right.
so,
A fast food restaurant does not hire a French chef to cook hamburgers
mhm.
that would know all about meat temperatures and all that stuff and use the meat thermometer and a guy in with a hat on. They don't hire those people at a fast food restaurant. They have a process where they can hire 17-year-olds who don't know anything about cooking, right? And when it
Mhm.
beeps, you flip the hamburgers over, and when it beeps again, you take them off. It's like they just got a process. They already know the temperature's fine. They all know that stuff's going to work out because
Mhm.
they build a process by someone who does know what they're doing, right?
Yep.
So for you owners out there, you're trying to build like a process for everything. Like you want to build an install process. Start writing down on a single sheet of paper everything that you do to do it right. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Now you can hire guys that don't have 5 years experience as long as they can follow instructions and do it the way you train them to do it. But the biggest change for you and for everyone I've seen successful, and this is not, by the way, you're not unique in this. Everybody I know that's
Mhm.
changed, that's really become successful, has changed their mind about how they thought this thing worked.
Yep.
Go out and find any of those guys in our industry who are doing like big numbers, 50, $100 million companies. Go back to the owner and ask him, when you started and you were a one truck company, how did you think it worked? And how do you think it works now? And none of them are the same. Not a single one of them.
Yep.
You change between 1 truck and 3 trucks, let alone 1 and a 50. So, so that's really your thing,
It's taught me too that it's also going to be a process of change. That from the growth from where I was a year ago to now has been a process, and so I've gotten that understanding now. From now until a year from now or 3 years from now, that's going to be a whole new set of processes.
I know we had a conversation yesterday about the fact that as good as it is right now, we came up with a few ways to make it even better.
Yep.
If you implement another step in there.
Yep.
Because we're taking you out of the loop. Right now, you're messaging everybody back. That's going to be your bottleneck. It's like at some point, if it's going to be, you got like 3 or 4 people working there. If you had 40 people working there, you'd never be able to keep up with that volume all by yourself.
Yep.
So we have to act like the company you want to be, not the one you are, and put something in place that allows it to replace you texting every single customer.
Yep. And then that's what also made me, once we talked about that too, I knew that if I'm going to automate that, that's where maybe I should analyze and look at my processes of my organization on scheduling, project management. And so it made me start questioning that too, where I want to look at that as well. Right. And kind of open that up, because I also understand that, when you increase one end, it's going to have an effect of hitting your internal areas. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for that.
Right. I mean, look, guys, if you're building a business and you're whatever size you are, if you're 3 trucks and you think I want to be 10 trucks, by the time you're at 10 trucks, what's that going to feel like? Start acting like that now. Because the biggest problems I see are someone who's becoming something bigger and trying to hold on to some of the ways they used to do stuff. And it's the bottleneck that doesn't allow the growth to actually happen. Like example of that, I have plenty of people I talk to who are, they started as a 1 truck operation where they just did everything themselves. And at some point they still have the cell phone in their pocket ringing, and they got like the 3 or 4 trucks and they're taking all the calls. It's like, dude, you need to let go of that, or they're still the guy who's got to install all the systems because no one does it like I do, or whatever the heck thing they're trying to hold on to. It's like, you have to let go of that. At some point, Henry Ford had to stop building all the cars himself.
Yep.
And he was a really good engineer, but he had to just say, you know what? I understand there's some guy I just hired for the assembly line. He's not going to drill a hole in the car the same way I did or something, but it has to be some way where I can call it, this is the quality control, good enough the way we want it, and let go of that, or I can never grow this.
And that's another hard part too, is handing the keys over to somebody else. Yep. Because it's something you've already been doing. You already have your standards. You know what you can do. You think that you're great at it. We all do that. Where we think, well, I'm the best at this, Yep. And then when you go to bring somebody else on, and then you hand that off to them, the very first day I was wanting to keep double checking, is he working on this right here? Is this right here getting done? Is this? Yep. And then I caught myself, after probably the first couple hours where I was just like, I just need to chill out and just let him work. I need to let him.
Why am I doing twice as much work? I'm doing the new jobs I'm trying to do, and I'm still doing his job.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And it's just, you gotta take your seat and where you belong, and then you let the other people do what they're, and it's that whole thing too, is you don't put somebody into a spot where you're not going to trust what they can do. If there's that question of trust, then they shouldn't be there.
Well, if that's happening, you've got 1 or 2 things wrong. You've either got the wrong person or you got the wrong process.
Yep.
And you fix one or the other. And my opinion is fix your process, because if you have a really great process, you should be able to plug almost anybody in there. Fast food joint, 17-year-old idiot can go in there. It doesn't know anything. It's his first job. He doesn't know how to do anything, He's a junior in high school. This kid is not smart as far as how to work on stuff yet. He's only been working for a week, right? But he can make a pretty good burger, I mean, they even have training on how to mop the floor properly because they understand they don't know how to do that. So, and so, and they have to just understand, like, look, you're going to sometimes go through a few people till you find one that's going to be able to fit your culture and stuff too, Biggest thing is that change, and change is constant, right?
Yep.
So what's your next thing? What are you up to next?
Let's see. Next is it's going to be like a premier customer club or a client club. Gotcha. And that one is going to it's going to take things to the next level, to where I'm going to have a price increase that's coming up, but then make it to where people who belong to the club, they get benefits out of it. So say same day Manual J has an extra fee as well. If they need it done within a matter of 4 or 5 hours. Well, if you're a member of the club, there's no extra charge for it. Yeah, that's included where you gain that slot automatically if you need it. And then you get the first come at it too. So if somebody else comes up, now, it's already filled, if
Right.
there's no
Well,
other
part of
left.
that was because you're going to have a bottleneck in the busiest seasons.
Yep.
Right. And so how do you mitigate the bottleneck for your best customers?
Yep.
Right.
And then those who belong to the, that club, then, they get the not really first come first serve, but they get the premier treatment.
Yeah. The priority for that day. Right.
Yes.
Yep.
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 Yep. Where everybody gets, everybody will have it done within an excellent time frame and better than what, my competition can do. But that premier club that, they get above that standard.
Top of the list.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. So and I think that that's going to increase your stability across the board year round.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you do that, So, it's the same kind of thing we should do with our maintenance agreements in the HVAC world is like you use it to increase your own stability, but you do it because your best customers want certain benefits and they're willing to pay for it.
Yep. And that's actually what I've been doing now I'm looking at my clients. I'm looking at the number of houses that they do. I'm seeing if it's more beneficial for them because I'm going to offer it to everybody essentially, but I want to make sure that the people that really, 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 really need it, they're going to get the first offer for it because, that way I can show them the benefits from it.
Right. Because you said your average customer is $2,500 a year.
Yes.
But you have some that are more than that.
Oh, yes.
By a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some of them. I have some companies that they sub their entire engineering department over to me. And so we take care of every single Manual J, residential, commercial, sometimes refrigeration loads. It's just,
right.
Anything that that comes in comes directly.
So that's a really good point. What's happened to your revenue over a year? Because we talked about this, your January, February, and what's happened in 1 year?
Yeah, it's gone up substantially. And it's funny because before that, I had this big upsurge of more work coming in, and it was because of good decisions I was making years ago. And then I found where all of a sudden I had a year where it dropped. And I was looking at it, and some of it was kind of economy-based, not a whole lot. But what I started looking at was I was losing clients because I wasn't getting projects done in time. Projects were coming out late. Pricing was just not standard like we were talking about before.
Right.
The different stuff like that, it was starting to weigh heavy on things. And so once I fixed all that, then I stopped that drop and then it's gone from that drop to increasing more than what it was before the drop.
Right. So you said it was like a 200 or 300% increase over 1 year.
Yes.
The same month of the year.
Right? Yeah. Right now I think it's 188%
higher.
Yes.
Yep. So that, by the way, that doesn't mean double. That's almost triple. Is that, am I doing that right? Or are we talking the same language there?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so, right.
Yep.
So, yeah. So it's not like if it was $100, it's not 200. It's $288.
It used to be January and February were my slowest months.
Right.
And then now January and February have been just as busy as a summertime month.
Yeah. For last year.
Yeah. For last year.
Yeah. We don't know what this year you're going to be.
This year it's funny because I have that, I'm hopefully scared because
right.
I can't wait to see it. But then I'm like, wow, what is this going to look like?
Well, you turned the ads off.
Yes. For the last week and a half, I haven't been running any ads only because I don't want to get overloaded and start making the same mistakes that I was making before where I have too much work, can't handle it, right. And then clients aren't happy.
Well, that's the thing, right? So now you're in place to build out so that you can run more ads and even grow more.
Yep.
But the thing is, if the ads work really, really great, sometimes you have to turn them off. So,
yep.
Yeah, but that's really, so what's the advice you would give somebody who's like thinking, just kind of coasting along and things are okay, but maybe they could be better. What do you think they should do?
I really think they should contact somebody like you first off, because the ideas that you have aren't something typical of the average person is going to do a search on Google and find. And, they need to go to you because you have a methodology that's set up in place that they can follow. And then they'll start seeing, once they start, putting everything in place, once they have that sales process down, once you have a funnel down, once you have your ad down and you put all of that in there, you automatically start seeing the results coming in.
Right. And then you can tweak the result. And
Yes.
by the way, the result is not always the best result. Sometimes you either win or you learn, right?
Yep.
It's not like everything always works exactly perfectly, right?
Yep.
But having the process allows you to pinpoint, well, this is the part where it does work and this is the part where it doesn't. And I'm not going to blow the whole thing up. I'm just going to fix the part that doesn't work.
It's kind of like with the ads. When I was running ads, I just wouldn't run one ad to find out what people really liked. I'd run 10 different ads, and I would watch the insights and the analytics to it
Right.
of what was actually happening, and then I would start saying, am I getting any messages from this? Is anybody really doing this?
Right.
What's happening? And then so it kind of, then I would turn some ads off before their end of their period. And then I would
Because
create
you're
a
like,
new
well, that
one.
one's not working. So turn it off and send all the traffic to the one that's working.
Yep.
And this is the stuff that we show you how to do, how to go in the ads manager and set this up,
Yep.
because boosted posts, I'm going to say it right now. Boosted posts fucking suck. Do not boost posts. Learn to build real funnels. It doesn't do anything to boost a post.
Nope.
You got to go in and build a real funnel where hey, when someone sees this ad, there's an image that makes them stop scrolling. Once they stop scrolling, there's something on the ad that makes them go, oh, I like this. Show me more. Click. And then it takes them someplace instead of not to your freaking homepage.
Mm-hmm.
And it just says a bunch of platitudes like, we care because we care, or in business since 1952, and
Yep.
24-hour service. No one gives a shit about that. They want to see what was in the ad. Show me what do I do about that thing that was so exciting 3 seconds ago, and now you took me or you're boring the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So stop doing that. Build out a real funnel and like what you're doing, and then test. And every time it gets better, it gets better. It's like the new world record, and then try to go better than that one, right?
Yep. And it's just, it's not easy. It's one of those things that sometimes, I can't, days I would be like testing different ones out and nothing would seem to work. And it's just, you get to the point where you're like, oh, can't wait till it's 5 o'clock.
Really
I'm gonna have
point.
a beer.
Do you ever have the ones where you're like, oh, this one's going to be awesome, and then nothing happens?
Yep. Oh yeah. I had ones, I would go on trendy stuff and I'd be like, oh, this is so funny. And I would release it and there would actually be comments left. I deleted that one, but there would be comments left of like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Are you some type of idiot?
Right.
And then you're like, well, I guess that was funny to me, but nobody else really saw that humor.
Well, the part of it is like what we're talking about here is the metrics, right? The only thing that matters is looking at the metrics, like how many people are actually taking the action we want them to do, and does it leading to money?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else doesn't matter. It doesn't matter my opinion. Well, I thought it was really hilarious. Or it doesn't, and not that we're trying to necessarily be funny, but it's like whatever. I thought that was going to be great. Well, it didn't work. And you say, well, this one's not going to work. And you put it out there like, holy crap, everybody that's the one that's going.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do need to test stuff that's like really weird stuff. And I know that we talk about a lot of processes, like when you're writing headlines, like write 25 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then pick 4 or 5 of the best ones to use, and then you still have a bunch left if those didn't work. And you can always test the ones that you thought, well, they're never going to work, and then it turns out one of them might. So,
yep.
But like
and then
said,
with me, it was a TikTok video. It was a TikTok video,
right?
And in reality, when you look at TikTok and the age demographic to it, it's nobody that I would really be targeting.
Right.
But I saw
years old. It's 14-year-old girls or something, right? It's like,
I saw that it was being shared all over the place, though, on all different social media platforms. And that's when I was just like, well, maybe I'll go on TikTok. I'll make that same thing, but according to what I'm offering, and then release it and then see what happens. So TikTok didn't really do anything. I didn't expect it to.
Right.
But
you use
everything else.
You use the platform to make the creative for your ad you wanted to run somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's really good." Because I saw it a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, "Oh, look at what David's doing." We weren't talking about it. I just saw it. I went, "This is really cool." I think I even clicked like, kind of like, I like that, whatever.
Yep.
Which didn't give you any money, but then again, I wouldn't, because first of all, I know how to do a manual, Jay. Second of all, I don't really need to do one. So, but yeah, I did like it when I saw it. I was like, "That's a really good, astute, creative idea." And so thinking out of the box a little bit, which is exactly what we tell you to do, is come up with how to write headlines. Because we do have headline formulas and stuff.
Hmm.
That works. So,
Yep.
um, so anyway, guys, if you want to talk about this, if you want, I mean, I can't promise anybody's going to get a result like this because frankly, David was an exceptional client of mine who took stuff and ran with it really, really hard towards the goal. So if you're going to do that, you can get great results. And if you don't, then I don't know what's going to happen. But if you want to get a result like that and you want some help, let me know. What you need to do is you go to tedgravlin.com/booking, and we can get a phone call booked and we can talk for free. This is how we started, was a phone call
Yep.
about a year ago. We spent like an hour. We built a plan. And at the end of the hour, was there any pressure on that call?
No, no pressure whatsoever.
No, we're just
It's
building
actually,
a plan.
you came up with a plan. You told me some things to think about with, and it was nothing like a sales pitch to me. It was more of, you were telling me, I told you about my business, where I was at,
Right.
and you just started laying it out of, well, you need to start thinking about this right here and this right here and this right here. And then it got to where I was like, well, I want to know more. I
Right.
want to
Do
dive
you want
more
some
into.
help? You want some help actually doing that? Yes.
Yep.
Right. That's sort of what it comes down to. Right.
Yep.
So that's the way the call goes. Guys, it's not going to be a pressure call. It's not a sales call, so to speak. It's just like, let's talk about where you're at, what you're trying to accomplish, where your goals are. And if I can help you, I'll say, look, here's what you need to do. This, and this.
Yep.
Great. You want some help with that? Yes. Great. When do we want to start? Right now. You don't want to wait 4 months for some seminar or something. You don't need to travel to Vegas for a weekend or no. Just start right now. Fix your freaking problems right this minute. Right.
Yep. Yep.
And because the work is not done sitting in some classroom learning stuff, is it?
No,
No.
it's learning it piece by piece and then implementing it at the same time while you're
Do
learning.
this piece, just get this much done this week.
Yep.
Right. Because
Yeah,
I mean, you got a whole bunch of other stuff in there. You've got an email system you didn't have that is tagging people with all kinds of stuff. You can send emails all over the place.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And I got it to where I even started using the pixels too, so that way I'm tracking people now. So when they come on there, you know, when they visit the landing page, the pixel's there, and then now I can begin tracking that person, and then I can also, that will allow me to create even newer ads next time, and I can specifically target those people.
Right.
So that's the really cool part.
Targeting
Yeah.
is huge because, like, for example, if someone visits a site like yours, you should be sending them an ad the next day, like, "Hey, are you still looking for Manuel J design?"
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now I don't have that set up yet, but I'm working towards that. So that way, those people who they've looked at it and then they left, I want to be able to go back at those people again.
And this is because your CRM, the customer resource management, the email system, knows that this person visited, and they know that it's also not a client.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
say, show me a list of people who visited my site that are not a client, and I'm going to send those people an ad on Facebook. And believe it or not, you can send an ad on Facebook to people with like, there's 25 people in the group. Like, it doesn't have to be 10,000 people. It's like, I can run ads to a Facebook audience of like 20 people that were from yesterday's visits or whatever. And actually, you want to hear something really funny, just to complete aside for everybody. This is actually a funny story. There's a guy I know that was a Facebook marketer that he's a pretty famous one, but I don't think you can do this the same way anymore. But a few years ago, he punked his roommate by totally running Facebook ads that only his roommate would see. And it was like the ads would be referring to things that they were talking about like yesterday or whatever, and he was totally doing this because what he did is I think the minimum was 25 people in an audience. So he created an audience of 25 people, but 24 of them were female, so that he was the only male in the group. And so he ran the ad, and then in the targeting, he said, show it to males that are in this group, so only his roommate would see it. And it would be things like, some movie they saw, or, he had to go to the doctor for something, like, and it'd be like an ad, like, do you still have a problem with, hemorrhoids or whatever the heck is roommate? And it was really hilarious. And he was posting the results in a Facebook marketing group, and it was hilarious because you can target that tight if you really know what you're doing. The guy's like, oh, I was just doing it for fun because it took me like 5 minutes a day to just place a new ad for $1 and let him see it. And he'd be over there scrolling through his Facebook, and his roommate's going, son of a bitch. But yeah, it's pretty, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's how good the targeting can get if you know what you're doing.
Yep.
But you definitely should be running retargeting, and everyone should, really. So think of it this way, folks. If you're running an air conditioning company and someone visits your website and then just bounces, they're there for 3 seconds and bounces out, wouldn't you like to know who that is? If you did, what would you do? Clearly, they're looking at air conditioning companies. They were there today looking at a company. You should be sending them an ad on Facebook that says, are you still looking for air conditioning help? Or whatever the heck the page they were looking at. By the way, this is how Amazon and everybody's doing that thing. If you're looking for a pair of red shoes or something, and then suddenly you get ads for a week for red shoes because you didn't buy anything from Amazon, that's how they do it. And you should be doing the same thing. And this is what we teach in how to set the stuff up. So anyway, if you want to get a phone call, I've got slots available. They're sometimes limited because I'm only one guy, but you can just go to tedgravlin.com/booking, or go ahead, click me up, friend me on Facebook. I'm fine with it. Send me a message. We'll chit chat that way, and we'll set up a phone call or whatever that way if you can't figure out how else to get there. So we'll do that. And hey, thanks, David, for sharing with everyone what's going on, because it's an exceptional story, and you've done an incredible job of building a business that's like about triple its size in a year.
Yep.
And not only that, but getting your time back, because you're not working 60 hours a week.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. A year ago, it was probably more than 60. I was doing 18-hour days really easily. And, it'd be anywhere from a 14-hour day to an 18-hour day that I'd be working almost 7 days a week.
Yeah. What do you do now?
I do about 6-hour days, 5 days a week. On weekends, I don't really do anything unless I'm like researching new like processes or something. I might be watching a movie on the couch while I'm scrolling through my phone,
Right.
reading up on new software or something.
Well, it's that stupid adage of work on your business, not in your business.
Yep.
And most people go, well, that sounds like a great idea, but what exactly am I supposed to be doing when I'm working on my business? Well, it's the things we're talking about, guys. It's the things like he's researching what platform he's going to move his project management things onto, and which way he's going to do it, and then implementing that and making things run smoother. What he's not doing is doing 5 more manual J's today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to go out and look for work to add that onto me, because I realize that I'm more essential in the role of, finding the work, bringing the work in, keeping the machine running.
Right.
And then everybody else they're the ones doing the work.
Right.
If I can't do my job of running things,
Right.
then it's not going to run as good as what it is now.
You're conducting the orchestra. You're not playing all the instruments.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the trick. If you want to be an owner, you got to do owner shit and stop doing employee shit. And yes, I know when you're a small company, like a one-man show, you're doing all the jobs, but the jobs you should be giving away are the ones playing the instruments. And what I see so many people doing is they're trying to figure out, well, I don't understand how to do marketing, so I'm going to figure out how to hire some marketing company to do that for me. And I'm going to continue to be a service tech or whatever. It's like, dude, if you want to be a service tech, go get a job for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Go get a job someplace. But if you want to be an owner, then do owner stuff, And this is actually the conversation. We had this conversation just now today.
Yep.
The first thing you wanted to do is I wanted somebody to do my marketing for me. And I told you, no, I'm not going to do that for you. I'm going to teach you how to do this, and I'm going to teach you how to be an owner.
Yep.
And that was part of our initial conversation. So again, that's that phone conversation. So go ahead. Let me know, guys, if you want to do that. Click and send me a message. And, sometimes if we're not Facebook friends, I don't know if you know how that works, but if you send a message to someone who's not a friend, I may not see it right away because it doesn't tell me until I go look for it. But friend me first. That's fine too, if you know if that's going on. And thanks, David. And
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
Hang on one second here.